by asking you all a question. Do you experience stress in your daily life?
Yes.
It's very common to be stressed. I experience a lot of stress. And I'm the type of person who Googles everything. I have a headache, Google. I sneeze one too many times, Google. I get stressed, Google. So what is stress? When change occurs in life, stress is a very normal reaction of the body and the mind. It is a negative emotional experience accompanied by various psychological, cognitive, and behavioral changes. Moderate amount of stress could be healthy, motivational in fact, but stress is not always positive. Stressful situations trigger a biological response. When a threat, a major problem, or a challenge is perceived, chemicals and hormones surge throughout the body. When I get stressed, my heart rate increases. Why does this happen? It happens because of a hormone called adrenaline. It affects human behavior in a negative way. It is produced by the adrenaline gland and plays a very important role in the fight-or-flight response. When we're scared, the amygdala signals the release of adrenaline, which plays a very important role in the fight-or-flight response. The release of adrenaline leads to the stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system, which results in increased blood flow to muscles and increases breathing rate. This prepares one to either fight the threat or run away from it. Stress triggers a fight-or-flight response. When we're scared, for example, if you have a test tomorrow which you're not prepared for, you will either get up in the morning and do your best, or you will skip the test and not do it. In this example, I wanted to show you how, when you're stressed, you start thinking about how you can fight the threat or run away from it. According to the American Psychological Association, stress affects the human body in a very negative way. It affects one's musculoskeletal, cardiovascular, endocrine, gastrointestinal, and respiratory, and the nervous system. Just imagine how much stress affects your body. So, in this example which I just gave, why were you stressed? You were stressed because of fear. In that example, I was scared of failure, which led to stress and later in the fight-or-flight response. The fight-or-flight response is what links stress with fear. The Oxford Dictionary defines fear as an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of pain, danger, or harm. We get stressed about the things that affect us. For example, schoolwork, which affects your grades, which somehow affects your future, and hence it affects you. According to Business Insider Australia, statistics report that millennials aged 18 to 35 and Gen Xers from 36 to 49 are significantly more stressed than average stressors, while the older generations struggle less with stress. The most common stressors are money, work, family responsibilities, and health concerns. The most important point here would be the negative ways used by the millennials and Gen Xers to deal with their stress, such as watching television for more than 2 hours per day, or surfing the internet way too much, oversleeping, overeating, or overconsumption of alcohol. These are not very positive ways to deal with your stress. There are positive ways to deal with your stress. For example, when you're stressed, you tend to overeat. What you can do, you can try to switch that bag of chips with a bag of mini carrots. They're tasty and they're healthy. Healthier. When making small changes, such as making a schedule and a plan, and making effective and achievable goals uncomfortable goals compared to one, and not like one chapter you just do 1 hour type of a thing, you effectively achieve your goals and you start feeling better. Even if you don't achieve all your goals, which you have for the day, it's okay to not achieve them sometimes. Try not to freak out, just reschedule and replan. Doing this every day won't do any good, but sometimes it's okay. So when you're stressed, what happens in your mind is that you evaluate the demands of the situation and you evaluate your skill set to not be able to cope with the demand. When this happens, you have to, in a comfortable pace, increase your skills to what the demand requires you to have. This would mean that you need to take a step back and reassess the situation in a more realistic way this time. In most cases, you already have the skills that the demand requires you to have. And when you have those demands, when you have those skills, you can achieve what you want to in the time you plan it in. Wait, I'm sorry. You achieve what you want to because you already have the demand and it's just a matter of time for you to achieve it. So then you're less stressed. Another way to reduce stress is to do yoga. Now I know yoga is very common advice given by everyone, but yoga is one of the effective methods to reduce stress, and here's why. Your brain is constantly racing from one thought to the next, and your brain doesn't have the time to relax. So this results in your brain being stressed. So when you do yoga, yoga makes you concentrate on one thing at a time, such as breathing technique, or meditation, or even the yoga poses. These help your mind take a break and focus on one thing, which results in your brain being relaxed. So this is why yoga is one of the most effective techniques to reduce stress, because it makes your mind concentrate on one thing at a time. But according to also known as Sadhguru, who is the founder of Isha Foundation, which is a voluntary-run non-profit organization in Tamil Nadu. According to him, stress is not something we manage. Managing yourself is the key. The nature of your work is not the reason for your stress. It is that you don't know how to manage your emotions, body, and mind. For example, if you're on a bike and you turn the bike in one direction, but it goes to another, you're stressed. So the stress is the ability to manage your inner system and not the outer situation. So the solution to this is to change the context of life. To give you an example, there were 3 taxi drivers who were asked a question, "What do you do?" The first one responded with, "Can't you see my uniform? I'm a taxi driver." The second one said that I do something that gets me money when my household. And the third one responded with, "I make sure that people don't have to walk long distances to reach their destination or even use the overcrowded buses." Every moment of everyone's life, whatever one is doing in one of these 3 contexts. The complexity of the work does not affect the quality of life. When you're happy and cheerful, you're willing to take up more tasks. But when you're stressed, you're not willing to do the simplest of the tasks. In the current situation of the corona pandemic, everyone is stressed about their health, their well-being of the loved ones, their careers, jobs, earnings. In this time of positive and to accept the reality and stay positive to deal with your stress. If your health is not preserved, what's the point of the work anyways? So the most important thing here to do is to make one happy and peaceful. So the most important thing to do is to make one happy and peaceful, and don't stress over the things that you cannot change. It's not the stress that kills us, it's a reaction to it.